All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for attending today's Mastering MarketSight Session 8. We're going to go over some of the new features that 11.0 went over. And my name's Nick, and I am the Customer Success Specialist at MarketSight. So some of the top new features of 11.0 that we're going to go over is the user interface change. So now we have some new languages available. We also have the ability to export pre-filled labeling workbooks, and this is particularly useful for Excel users. We also have the new ability to treat text variables as categorical upon the upload of a data set. And again, this mostly applies for Excel users, but will be a useful function. We also have some enhanced ease of use functions, so some Alt-Control clicks for the selection and deselection of values. And we have the ability to kind of streamline the ability to create UDVs now. We've also added some of the manual and auto-select filter controls in our filter panels. And another useful feature is to apply chart styles across different charts. And finally, we'll be reviewing the new starred item menu on the main page. So just going into MarketSight now, the first thing to highlight is the new user interface for languages. Currently, we have German, Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese. So if I were to change one of these, you'll notice that the interface has changed to adjust to that language. Something to note about this is that if your original language within your uploaded dataset does not have that language in it, it's not going to automatically translate those new labels and that dataset. It's only going to apply to the data or to the interface. The next useful option here is the ability to export a pre-filled labeling workbook. So I'm going to right-click on my dataset, select Properties, and export the dataset labeling workbook from here, or your other option would be to right-click and select Export Labeling File. Prior to the implementation of this feature, the ability to actually fill in labeling workbooks was a little bit more challenging because it was really up to you to fill in the labeling workbook. So the labeling workbook that you received in the past was completely blank, but now it's going to reflect your current data set, and it's really just going to be up to you to adjust those values. So just showing you the example here. So again, previously, this whole setup here would have been blank, and it really would have been up to you to fill in the variable codes and values of interest. But now, from here, you can actually just go right into either adjusting your value names and or coding scheme. And then once you've made these adjustments, the ability to apply it back to the data set would just be to right-click, select Properties, and then to select that modified labeling file to apply. The next new feature will actually involve text variables. So I'm actually just going to show you the data set that I'm about to use. So previously, if you had a field like this in your Excel file that was an open-ended question, there was really no easy way to convert this into a discrete or categorical field. But now with this new feature, when I upload this data set, I'm just going to select this file from my computer. I have this box here to check to treat text variables as categorical. So if I select this option, once the data set successfully uploads, this new field, or this only variable, I should say, will have categorized discrete values associated with them. So the additional step here, if you are going to categorize these variables, would be to create a regroup, and then from there you could actually just group the values of interest together. All right. The next new feature actually just applies to ease of use within MarketSight. So if I were to go to a crosstab here, 1 second. All right, so now if I go into my crosstab, this new feature really only applies to the checkboxes, but if you have very specific filter criteria that you're trying to match, if I were to do something now like hold Control and select an individual check, it will actually uncheck the other values. If I wanted to do the inverse function and I hold Alt and select this box will be unchecked and MarketSight will fill in the remaining values. So this is definitely just an ease of use function here. So if you are applying lots of filter criteria, it's an easy way to apply them to your crosstabs and charts. The other feature to point out while I'm on this page here is the auto versus manual filter apply. This feature was added just because of the potential issues that can happen with loading time. So for example, if I am to leave this on auto right now, every time I uncheck a box here, it will automatically reload this crosstab to reflect the filter change. But this occurs at every uncheck. So after each individual uncheck, the crosstab will reload. If I were to switch this to manual, now the reload won't occur until I actually select apply. So I can reselect these values, maybe unselect this one, and then if I were to select apply, the crosstab will adjust accordingly. All right. So this next feature is actually going to apply to the creation of UDVs. So previously, how you would create a UDV within MarketSight is you would select the UDV of interest, then you would proceed to name, select your predecessor, and then fill in the following fields. Now, we've actually made it so that you can skip that step of selecting the predecessor by first right-clicking the variable of interest that you're looking to create this UDV off of. So for example, if I selected household income, I can now select this option to create UDV. And then I could create my regroup from here. And in doing this, it will save me a step because I won't need to actually select that predecessor now. It will already be here, pre-selected. And then from here, I can just assign my regroups. The next feature that we're going to cover is going to be the application of chart styles. So let's say you've taken the time to create your chart in MarketSight and you've applied a lot of unique styles to this individual chart. So for example, the color scheme, the font, the sizing, and even the individual font bold. And let's say that I was actually trying to apply it to something like this, where maybe I'm using a pre-used template, or maybe I'm just using default template and I'm looking to actually just have that style scheme applied to this chart here. Now previously what you would need to do is you would need to make those individual modifications to this chart, or you would need basically a template that reflected that original style. Now all you need to do is select Apply Chart Styles, and then I can actually select the style from that chart. So now you can see that this takes on both the color scheme, the font, and the overall style of that previous chart. It didn't change my chart type to match the previous one. It only changed basically the aesthetics. And the final thing that we're going to go over is the change to the key findings module. So previously, if you had a key findings user that logged in, this screen here would display, and it would basically be blank. But now you actually have the ability to set basically a home page to this so that it will automatically display either a dashboard or a chart or a MarketSight output that you're looking to display. To do this, all I would do is I'd right-click on the output of interest, and I can set it as an opening page. And when I make this assignment, every time a key findings user will log in, they'll actually be able to view this page first. So kind of in doing this, you can just acknowledge that there is going to be primary output that that user is going to be viewing, and you can make it so that they don't actually need to select that individual output. So for example, if I were to reload key findings now, it's going to automatically display this dashboard here. And with that, that's about all I have to cover with the new features that 11.0 have to offer. But if you guys have any other questions, definitely let us know. I see one question right now. If I change my language, will it change for other teams? So the language setting is actually a user setting. So when you change your language, it will actually only apply to you, the individual user. And I believe that is all the questions that we have for today. Oop, hold on. We have another one coming in. Can dashboards include video too? Absolutely. So a function of one of the new dashboard capabilities is that we do have the ability to upload videos into those dashboards. Really, to do something like this from the dashboard editor, you'd basically select the option to add item and then proceed to select that video file from your computer. And I think with that, that's all the questions we have here. Hold on. So the size limit affiliated with videos. So this question actually has to do with the size limit of a video that you can apply to a dashboard. Basically, the size limitation is going to be associated with the storage limitation that you have in your account. Okay. So if no one else has any other questions, then we're going to close it for today. But thank you everyone for attending, and have a nice day.